Hi, my name is Dr. Jamie Klingman. I am a business broker based out of Tampa, Florida, but licensed in several states. I think what makes me a different kind of broker is I became a broker because I sold my own company and realized how few brokers really understood the under $10 million business space.
Sam Martinez here. I'm a advisor and also a business broker. And I became a business broker almost by accident, and I blame that on Jamie Clement. But I sold my company, an insurance brokerage, some years ago, and I realized how difficult that process can be, as well as I've seen so many and work with so many clients who have sold their companies successfully and unsuccessfully. And so, what the exit strategy company brings to the table, and what I bring to the table as well as experience of going through the process myself, as well as having a financial background to help with all those instances of selling a business. Looking forward to working with you. Jamie Klingman.
Sam Martinez.
I love that.
I know.
Jamie, one of the
Sam.
hardest things uh, to get into the mind frame of selling a business, I think, I know it was a little bit difficult for me, uh, is what's the next chapter? What's the next
Oh, yeah.
adventure? And all of the unknowns, especially after starting a business, running a business, seeing some success, because obviously if you're successful, that's the only way you're going to sell it. And then
You hope.
thinking, yeah, right. And then thinking, man, what is next?
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest challenges I hear about, but also I too experienced when I went to sell my company. I've told my story many, many times, but I sold because I really didn't like the industry I was in, and at least in the way I was in it. And I didn't really see a future beyond that. I did have my real estate license, and I figured I'd do some real estate until I figured out what I was doing next. But I did not have a clear what's the next chapter, and I was in my early 30s, so it wasn't I was not making enough money to comfortably live on for the rest of my life, even when money went further back then. But there's that piece of what happens next. Now I was motivated through my sell because I just wanted out, which is not that's not great. And I really should have sold years before when I was not in that position, because I think I would have gotten more money and the process would have been easier. But for many people, the goal would be, I mean, for all business owners, it would be to sell at the peak so that when you're spending the most time and attention on your business. But it's really hard to think about what the next chapter is while you're doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I know for me, it was a mixture of both, actually. Being in the company that I sold, insurance brokerage, it had changed and the rules had changed so much over the years. I was doing employee benefits, and of course, over the past 10, 15 years, that landscape has shifted. I mean, let's be honest, every landscape has shifted for pretty much every business from tech to automotive. You know what I mean? So, nothing new there. But for me, it was, I think, a combination of both. I was really tired of that. And where I was tired, there was someone else who was excited to grab that and expand upon it and to build upon, and they have, by the way, thank God. I mean, it was a successful exit, and they've taken not just my business, but they actually took my people to a whole other level. So I couldn't be happier with that. And I empathize with founders that when they think about selling, they think about their people
Right.
because those are like family to them as well. At the same time, I was thinking I really want to do other things. And so that was I believe both are necessary. We have to understand when we're selling our business that yeah, I want to sell at my peak because that's how I get the maximum value. And so that's a difficult thing to convince people, hey, you're doing really well, sell now. Don't wait. Because how many people do we talk to that are already on a decline and they're just tired, and you don't want to sell on a decline. I mean, you can.
No,
Is
but I mean,
you're
that was
just
my story. I was in a decline because I was no longer paying attention because I was over it. And that the moment, that flash that happens at any point in time, even if it's at 3 o'clock in the morning, is the really that absolutely the point of that. It's time to sell. And and what's next? Because for some people they're selling after, they have much better attention spans than you and I have, and they're selling after 30 plus years of business ownership, and they're looking at retirement. And even that, it sounds wonderful, but change is hard. Even change that's good is people, I think as human beings, we really like work hard to not have change. And so when the sales process gets uncomfortable, it's really easy to go, I think I'm just going to stay in my lane. Like this is what I know. And the devil I know versus the devil I don't know, there's sometimes gets in the way of not wanting change. So being able to identify, what are the things that my life's, what's going to be in my life post closing, is a really important part of the brokering process that I think gets left out a lot because it feels like not part of the deal, but it is part of the deal because it's,
It's a huge part of the deal.
yeah, if you go to the office every day, I remember a story about a gentleman that went to the office every day, and when he sold, he wanted written into his deal that he could still go to the office every day because that's it was just to read the paper and drink his coffee and then leave. Like he wanted that, the comfort of the lack of change. And so, making some plans in advance. And there are people even who specialize in that, who, what are you building another business? Are you retiring? Let's put some structure in your retirement. All of those things are really important to be able to see when you go to sell your company, because it's you're just going to resist change. It almost always happens.
Yeah. And I cannot tell, well, we've had this conversation many times. Who usually blows up a deal, the seller or the buyer?
Oh, the seller
Yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a seller and business owners who are listening to us right now, you might think, no way. Yes, you
Yeah.
will, because it's not so much about the numbers. It becomes about so many little things. You start fighting over the dumbest things at toward the end, unless you have something you are going toward, unless you see that finish line that, hey, I can concede on these things because I'm going towards something next, something, a next adventure, something better. And so that's another reason why, hey, make sure whoever you're talking to, making an exit, they're having this conversation. You have to have this conversation with yourself. And it's very important that you have that aligned with your family, with your spouse, with your partner, because you guys are in this together as well. So,
Absolutely. That part was easy because I was single when I sold my business, but myself, and I had to all be aligned. So it was still important.
and I'm glad that all you are aligned still.
Mostly, yes. All right. Well, good chat.